This time we'll receive a presentation from PSE&G regarding their gas line replacement project here in the municipality. And to my knowledge, it was Kelly Roy who was going to take her team through the introduction. But if that's not the case, is it Mike Gallagher? Mike Coyle, please, the floor is yours.
You're looking for an exciting and dynamic start to the meeting, so I figured I'd do the
There we
30
go.
seconds. I'm Mike Coyle. I'm the Public Affairs Manager for PSE&G. Mayor, Council, thank you for giving us this opportunity to come to see you tonight and talk about our project. Kelly will talk in a minute about the details. We've identified a little over 10 miles of pipe within town that need to be replaced. We'll be doing that under our BPU-approved gas system modernization program. Looking to start the work sometime in June of this year. So I would like to bring up Kelly to talk about the details, where we're going to be working, what we're going to be doing, and how we're going to be keeping the administration and the residents informed of the project as we go along. Kel?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for having us. Myself, I am the project manager for the gas construction work that we're going to talk about in a little bit more detail. Tyler Keefe is going to be transitioning as project manager, so we're working together. And then we have three gentlemen here with us tonight that represent our outreach, our customers. We're going to transition to them in the presentation to talk through how we're going to handle customer outreach before we start and during and after the project. So again, thank you for having us. Just to give you a little background, I guess since the initiation of this gas system modernization program stipulated with New Jersey Board of Public Utilities, East Brunswick was one of the kickoff towns that we started with in the beginning. So we've lived through GSMP 1, we've lived through GSMP 2, and we're currently under a GSMP 2 extension program. So to date in East Brunswick, we've completed about 13 miles and touched about 1,300 residents. So successful to date since the beginning of the program work that we did. The recent work that we're here to talk about now that was recently identified under the program is bare steel infrastructure. So the GSMP program that's stipulated with BPU requirements is replacement of aging cast iron infrastructure and bare steel infrastructure. The bare steel, it's anything that was installed around 1962 and didn't have a certain production of protection on those pipes. So we have seen those pipes age faster than other utilities in the ground. So in East Brunswick, during that vintage year, there was a lot of neighborhoods built, a lot of pipe built at that time. So right now, what we've identified is about 5 miles, which we're calling our phase 1, which is impacting about 400 customers. With those pipe replacements, we come in, we put new main in the ground, and then every service at every customer's location is replaced from the street to the house. And then if the existing meters are in the homes, they have to be moved to the outside of the home. That is one of the stipulations with the BPU in terms of safety. So it's quicker response time for our emergency services, fire, police. They can, by moving the meter outside, we can access shut off at the meter point. We're also putting stop valves in at the curbs for quicker access so they don't have to enter the premise in an emergency. And we're also putting flow valves on those meters. So if there's any type of change in gas pressure from the outside of the home or within the home, that valve at that new meter will shut off gas going both ways to the home. So just to talk about the benefits, safety, what I just kind of hit on is one of the biggest benefits, right? In addition to that safety benefit are the reduced leaks. So with those aging steel mains, there are degradation that has leaks that are safe leaks. With the reduction of those leaks, we've reduced our methane emissions. Again, just to hit on the safety and reliability, we're putting plastic in the ground. That plastic's lifespan, is estimated at 100 years plus. So the next time we would have to come in town to do any type of replacement would be that type of timeline. And again, I've mentioned about the relocation of the meters. So just to kind of talk about more specifically the recent work. So I talked about the historical work done to date. The new work overall, there is about 11 miles of work identified in 3 different phases. Our first phase that we're looking to start is in the Frost Woods neighborhood area. That's a couple, excuse me. the Watchung Road, Rolling Road, Hudson area. As mentioned earlier, are anticipating a June start, and that work should take us through January of '26. Working closely with Keith and his team, we would look to restore those roads in the spring of '26, once appropriate settlement and weather comes about. And then the next phase is in MB, well, that's our map number that we refer to, but a couple roads in that map area are the kind of, I think that's east of the turnpike. University Road is the main drag that runs through that map, just for a reference point. And then the third area that we're looking at is a smaller map, but it's near New Brunswick Ave, Old Stage Road, and Sandalwood, just for reference. There's a couple maps that we'll go through on the next slides. Again, this first phase is about 5.4 miles, 400 services, 30 streets impacted, and a June start and January 26th end date anticipated. This is the second map, about 15 streets impacted over near University Ave. And then the third phase takes us into 2026. And right now, what we're working on is identifying any other bare steel maps. So PSE&G is getting ready to file for a GSMP3. We will be filing sometime this summer. Approvals usually come out in the fall timeframe, and we'll have a little bit more information. But there is a lot of bare steel in East Brunswick that is qualifying for replacement. So we're going to continue to work with your team to identify any future opportunity as we move forward in our program. So I am going to turn it over to Jason. Jason is going to talk through our outreach process, how we communicate ahead of with the customers.
Council President, may I just ask a couple questions? I remember you were here years ago, weren't you?
Yeah,
You know, on the first round?
correct.
And that went really well, and you guys worked very, very well with the town. I just want to confirm for the residents that these gas services are going to high-pressure gas rather than low-pressure gas, because you're pulling the new service through the old service line to the house.
So in these particular maps, with these bare steel maps, it's actually pressure to pressure. So
Oh,
we're
really?
not changing pressure on
Okay.
these maps that we're talking about. In the past, we've had some sections of town that
Because I know
were-
when you did my house, it changed to high pressure.
Correct. So there
Yeah.
was certain sections of town that were our UP system, utilization pressure, that relied
Right.
on regulators. So that did change pressure in the time, but right now, the pressure will remain the same.
Okay,
It's just an infrastructure upgrade in terms of that bare steel pipe.
okay. That's
But-
all I want.
But
I
to
mean,
your point about.
you're
the
not
ser-
digging up somebody's front yard, you're pulling
Correct.
still
9
through.
out of 10 times, our intent is to utilize the existing pipe that's in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So usually our plastic service can be inserted because it's the right size.
Right.
It's not size for size, typically going from steel to plastic.
Right.
So our intent is a hole towards the curb line and a hole towards the house we
Right.
can insert. There are situations which are case by case where someone has built a porch, or we can't access the side of the house that the meter is on because of an addition.
Right.
When that meter has to be moved outside, it has to be, we try to go right where it is inside to the outside, so there are different
Yeah,
circumstances.
you kept mine inside,
Okay,
based upon my request, because I was putting a,
and we might
A
not have
deck on the
had, it's
front.
pretty, and that is an area that's pretty finite with us, like we have to follow a certain protocol
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
to leave it inside. There might not have been a safe place per a lot
Right.
of standards with the BPU.
but, I mean, this is basically the same thing you did before.
Correct.
And you're
Yes.
working with Keith and his team
Yes.
to, restore the roads and everything else. And, I think you guys did a great job last time, so,
Thank you. Thank you for that.
looking forward to, seeing the upgrades.
Thank you, Councilman. We'll get back to our presentation now. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I'm good.
Because all the variables are going to be covered. We've seen far too many situations where there are mistakes. And that has not been the case here in East Brunswick. The floor is over here, Mayor.
I just wanted to confirm for the public that when you go about repairing roads, that the work is done at or better than the condition in which you found it, and that was what you did last time. I'm assuming that with this work, it would be the same philosophy.
Correct, yes. So during, ahead of the final restoration, which is more of a milling and paving on the road, our trenches and our holes that were left are maintained to be safe in the road. And if there are issues, we've worked closely with Keith's team and I think Joe, right? When there are issues or there's degradation in the road, we will address them and, during the project, so.
No, I guess for residents, they know that we've spent the last 8 years on a very aggressive plan to restore and repave many of our roads.
Understood.
And so if a road has just been repaved and now you're coming in and digging it up, it has to be replaced at or better than the way you found it. So if it was
Correct.
pristine when you found it, it will be pristine when you finish. If it was a crappy road to begin with that we haven't gotten to yet, and you need to put in a trench, you'll repair it. It will look better than it did before, but you're not repairing and repaving the entire road system for us in the township so that people have their expectations set appropriately with this work.
Yes, everything you said is where we will be with the project and restoration.
Thanks.
And that's the message that comes from the dais to the community that's watching this meeting this evening.
Yes.
We want to make sure that everyone knows what the mayor's talking about and how it's going to affect your home, your property. Thank you.
Thank you. Jason?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thanks for the time today. My name is Jason Pastorino. I'm a project outreach supervisor. Often municipalities and members of the public will ask, how do we learn about the project? Who can we reach out to with questions? So here at PSE&G, we have a team specifically dedicated to project outreach. So joined with me are my colleagues, Kasim Gomez and Khalid Wright. They make up our outreach portion of our outreach team. And really, we have a thorough, comprehensive outreach strategy, which entails informing customers of the various phases of the project. As Kelly mentioned, we have pre-construction outreach strategy, mid-construction, and post-construction outreach strategies. And really what that consists of is various forms of communication that we use to spread the messaging, details, and information about the project. So before the project kicks off, we'll send letters out to everybody informing them that the project is coming, your road will be impacted, this is what you can expect. And then throughout construction and throughout the various phases that we kind of work through, we'll send out additional notifications out. So as Kelly mentioned, there's a portion that has service work on the meters. We'll send out letters and notifications specifically on that. So again, just touching on the different forms that we have, and you can kind of see on the screen, and I've also brought some physical copies if you guys would like to see. We have letters that we'll send out in the mail. We will send out door knocker notifications that gets dropped off at folks' doors. We'll send out phone blast, email blast. We're happy to partner with, if you guys have a social media team to get some of that material on your website, we're more than happy to do so. We also have a website, which I'll touch on in a second. And then most importantly, a dedicated hotline, which you'll see on the next slide here. So our intent is to bring the calls to PSE&G as opposed to yourselves. We want people to reach out with questions. That way the experts can answer them. We're really that middleman liaison between the project team and the public. So if anyone does have a question or concern, we can connect them with Kelly and Tyler and the appropriate supervisors to make sure that their concerns are being addressed and heard, most importantly. So again, we do have a thorough and detailed plan to notify customers and keep them in the know as we progress through our construction. And again, we strive to bring them to us. That way we can address the calls. And then lastly, we also have a website through PSE&G where we'll be posting updates as well. We'll have the street list of everyone whose street is impacted throughout this project and kind of provide updates in terms of your street is in progress, your street is finished, or your street hasn't started yet. And again, just another tool that we use to provide updates to the public and get the messaging out about the work. And that really concluded. Any questions regarding the communication process?
Will Kendall and Kasim, am I pronouncing that right?
It's Kasim and Khalid.
Will you be knocking on the doors?
Depending on
Right.
the urgency of it, yeah, it's possible that you're.
So just make sure that you have the proper ID and.
Right.
I mean, you've been down this road.
Yep.
I get a knock on my door and
You never know.
I
We
peek.
usually
You
have
know.
we have like.
Our identification badge, yeah.
I'm well aware, and that's where we are today. I hate peeking,
Yeah.
but that's what we have to do. And, it's part and parcel to everything that you said with regard to public relations, that all of our residents will sort of expect, and then they can go to the website and they can.
Of course. Right, exactly. We want the residents to feel comfortable and know that it's us, that it's
Right, because
spreading the
as
messaging.
Councilman Wendell said, I recall as well, the last time you were here, similar presentation. And the big thing about the roads was, they came out pretty well. We give PSE&G an A+ for that.
Good to hear. Any other questions?
Listen, if this program runs as well as you ran the last time, I have no concerns. You guys did a very good job last time. The communication was fantastic, to both the council and to the public. And, you know, I'm excited that we're getting these upgrades.
Excellent. Thank you, Councilman.
I'm confident we'll run well with Keith in our department, and they all know I still have Frank Lucchese's number on speed dial. So, Kelly, I hope you stay through the project. I hear you're transitioning. Did I hear right? So we finally got you trained, and you're going to leave. Okay. So, but please reach out to Keith, and I will get you in touch with Greg, our information officer, and he'll help facilitate getting the word out. Also, Lieutenant Fama is here today. He's the information officer for the police department. So if we could just get maybe a quick team meeting together with your team and Jason, Keith, myself, and Greg T, and we'll get it going.
Just want to, again, remind residents that there's now, and will be, like it's been for the last couple of years, lots of different projects, road projects being done all at the same time. You're coming in the summer, we have our road improvement projects in the summer, the county does their work in the summer, so all of these are going on at the same time, so it's often very difficult to know, oh, is that a PSE&G job? Is this a county job? Is this the townships? Is this the state? They're all working at once, and so it can be confusing. So that is why Council President is just asking that we all do this in some sort of coordinated manner so that we're not inadvertently all in the same section of town at one time.
Right. Yeah, we'll definitely coordinate our best.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank
for
you.
your time.
Appreciate you.